Hello guys, am I audible?
Hello.
Give me a second, sir.
Okay.
Hello guys, can you hear me? Please comment. Yeah. Yes. Good evening, everyone. Okay, Manashita. Okay, Jayashree. Good evening, everyone. So as you know, so you are waiting for this session for long. Yeah, I was getting the message late. So you are waiting for this session for long. आप लोग बहुत दिन से वेट कर रहे थे, तो हमारे साइड से कुछ इशू था, सर भी थोड़ा बिजी थे, ऑक्युपाइड थे. So finally, sir managed to get some time. सर अपने बिजी शेड्यूल से कुछ टाइम निकाल पाए. तो आज हमारा सेशन है on Java workshop. So before we start, guys, start करने से पहले थोड़ा सा आपको इंट्रो दे दूं. आज का सेशन हमारा गेस्ट है अतीश दीक्षित सर. So actually he is from industry. जो आप लोग इंडस्ट्री में जाना चाहते हो, इंडस्ट्री के बारे में जो पूछना है आप उनसे पूछ लो. He would be the best person. तो अतीश दीक्षित सर इस इंडस्ट्री में है सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट में फॉर लास्ट 6+ years. And he is into the core domain of Java domain में है. He has worked with many multinational companies. तो इंडस्ट्री में कैसे काम होता है, इंडस्ट्री कैसे चलता है, आपको कैसे सर्वाइव करना है, आपको इसमें एंट्री कैसे मिलेगा, तो दैट अतीश सर वुड बी द बेस्ट पर्सन टू आंसर यू दोस क्वेश्चन. सो I would better step aside and allow Atish sir to take the stage. तो मैं आतिश सर को बुलाना चाहूंगा. आतिश सर, कैन यू हियर मी?
Yeah. Hi, Victor. Yes, Victor, sir. Yes. Hello, everyone.
आतिश सर, स्टेज आपके लिए है अभी. सो आप यू कैन टेक ओवर सर.
Okay. Thank you, Victor, sir. So, hello, everyone. So, you got the information about myself from Victor, sir. So, we will discuss today. Actually, this session is totally based on the interview process. If you are fresher or you have some knowledge on industry and in Java domain, and you have already worked, then this session will be very helpful for you all, right? And one thing I want to clear, the prerequisite of this session is you should have at least concept knowledge of the core Java, right? Then it will be easy because I will use a lot of words. Okay, everybody is hear me? No, please just comment. Yeah. So in this session, I will discuss on design pattern. That is a very burning topic in the industry right now. If you go in an interview, you should get around 10 questions, 5 questions to 10 questions related to that. Because programming is just a tool. But when you are going to develop anything, then you need to work on some design patterns, some principles, some software architecture things. So in that context, you need to learn about the design pattern. You should have clarity for that. Okay. So let's discuss about the agenda of this webinar. So I'm going to just share my screen and yeah. So this is agenda which I will cover today in this session. That is overview of design pattern, and then we will discuss what are the type of design patterns. And after that, it will totally coding based. So here you will get a lot of coding slides and information, and you can put any question related to that, and that will be totally informative. Okay, so if anybody has any question, please feel free to ping, and I will try to reply all. So yes. So the first question is, what is design pattern? So I hope you people are aware about core Java, at least core Java, right? Then it will be helpful. So the question is, what is design pattern? Actually, if you go, if you think about previous couple of years, there was no anything design pattern for the fresher. But now industry is moving onwards like full stack developers. So every company and in any interview, you will go and you face 2-3 questions related to design also, right? So what is the design pattern? So actually, if you're going to develop any software, initially you work hard for the analysis for that. And if your software is very big and huge, then you will need to design properly. For designing, you have clarity about that, about the design principles and some software principles. You have, might be you people are heard about that. That is like solid principle, KISS, and Yagini, and Dry. So these design patterns are work together when you are going to design. Okay, any softwares. So here I will just cover design patterns. So what is the design pattern? You can see here, the definition is it solve the problem that is repeating in your code, your in code. But the question is how we will get to know the design patterns required or not. Okay, so I will just give one small example. On the basis of that, you can easily understand. Okay, guys, getting my point? Please comment so that I can get your on the same thing. Okay, so why the design pattern is required? Now we are going to just give some notes. Suppose you have suppose you are going a college for the admission purpose, right? You enter into the college, and on the gate you will meet some person, and the person will bring you into the your reception area, and there you just do some work like registration and all the things, and after that you meet some persons for the admission purpose, right? So here you see in the college everything is organized. Might means one person is on the gate that take the information from you, and after that send you in the reception. And there's another guy that is handling all the work of reception. Like office boy, and your sitting management, and you're taking the informations and giving you information where the person whom you're going to meet. And finally you will enter into the admission department, right? So if there is not this kind of the infrastructure, then it is very difficult for the person who is coming from outside to manage the things, because he don't know where he has gone, he should go, right? So in here you can see that everything is organized. So such case we are managing in software industry. If we are going to develop something, we divide the software in modules. We divide code in the modules and separate the concern, separate the responsibility. Everything we try to separate. The question is why? Suppose today 5 members are working on software, and after 2 months, 3 person has left, right? So what will happen? New guy will hire and they start working. But if nothing is common in between the previous developer and new developers, it is very hard to maintain the code and start work on same project. So that's why we try to follow some principle and rule, and every developer and software engineer knows about them. So when the new person came in picture, he easily handle and easily can understand all the things, right? So to maintainability, to flexibility, to enhancement for the future, for these purpose, we need some design patterns. So it means that there are a purpose means if your software is huge, then you should go with design pattern and principle. So the question, where we should not go for the design pattern? Yeah, definitely. Suppose I give you an example. Suppose you are going to buy a bowl in a coffee shop. You enter, before entering, you meet with a guard, and he take the information from you, like in university we have done. And then he will move to next level. There will be the reception, and they again fill the information. And finally, you will reach to the shopkeeper. So, and after that, you just buy one ball for 50 rupees and come back to them. So in that case, you are thinking that it is good, because you are just going to buy a small ball for 50 rupees, but you have a lot of layers and after that you can get, means that if there is something managed queue, there will be something managed incoming and outgoing. So in that case, if you design such kind of the scenario, it will be very costly. It means if your software is very small, in that case, small and not multiple module, then you can avoid these things. Okay, but in Java and Python, in the languages, these languages have very used in very huge projects. So definitely there will be a lot of concern, lot of module, lot of activities, lot of tools. So in that case, you must aware about, everybody must aware about the design patterns. Okay, so if I'm talking about the little bit history, so the person Christopher Alexander, the person was working as a builder, kind of in real estate. So he designed in before 50s something called building styles and constructions. That is kind of design pattern. See how should we design the things. After that, there's four guys. I have mentioned the names like Vishgama, John Vishal, and Raphael John and Richard. He has taken the idea from that book and that principle and created one book, make one book that is called Design Pattern, Element of Reusable Object-Oriented Softwares. So they mention around 23 design pattern inside for the software development. But the name of book is very long, so the person was not easily pronounce it. So the start spell out like gang of four, because there's four person who has related books. So this is the small history. If you want to learn more, then you can just Google and you will get every information on Wikipedia. And the next point is design patterns. So this is the book, what I discussed in previous slide. And these are the writers, four writers you can see here, right? On the basis of these writer, the book named as a Gang of Fools. You can easily get from the internet, ebook from the internet, okay, free of cost. In this book, what they did, they just segregated all the design pattern in three categories, right? One is creational design pattern. Second, on the basis of behavior of the object, they divide the design pattern on under the behavior design pattern. Third is a structural design pattern, means the basis of the structure, of the code, they segregated all the under this category. So if I'm talking about the first creational, so you can easily understand the name of the design pattern, means category of the design pattern is creational design pattern. It means that in your application, if you are going to create any object, with some information, with some principle, with some logic, or with some right, or some with coding standard. So these all considered under the creational design patterns. So in this webinar, I will just cover one Singleton design pattern, and it is a most asked design pattern in the interviews. So in Singleton design pattern, actually this is a design pattern which ensure you that in your application, if you want an object, suppose you have a lot of object, but you want an object that will be always single, means that if you're trying to create 5 times, but it will return same object. Okay, so in that case, we use Singleton design pattern. For example, you have many times seen in Java, there's one class is runtime. So if you are running your application on the desktop, so if you want to get the information of a desktop and your backend operating system, then you will discuss with runtime class. So there should be only one class that who have all the information, so that the runtime class is a kind of Singleton class. So Singleton is a design pattern. Here, if you are going to create an object, you will get always same object, even you try to create many times. Okay, so yes, so this is the single design pattern. Now I will explain this single design pattern with the example. So let me share my screen. Just a minute. So for Singleton, I use here Eclipse, and I have created one package. There are implemented all the single design pattern. So I will explain every and how we are creating and everything we will cover here. You will able to answer for any question related to design pattern. I will cover everything related to design pattern. Nothing will be left here. Okay. So if any question from now till now, you can ask, and you can think. I will just trying to reply. So yes. So okay. So how we create design patterns? Single design pattern. So there's one class. I have created one class. This is okay. So actually, you can see it just is Java class, nothing else. And here I will apply some restriction on this object, and on the basis of that, this class will become kind of singleton. Okay. So here I am taking one example, that is app context, and I have created one reference for this class, that is static app context and app context. Here I have applied the logic that will be make this class as a singleton. Okay, so let's try to understand what does it mean and why everything, why these things I have, like synchronization, static, and method, private constructor. Why I have done these things here, right? So we will discuss one by one, and the purpose of the things. And if any question related to any line, you just ping, I will answer for that. So singleton, suppose I'm just moving something here. See, I want the object of this class. Okay, first of all, I execute it and will show you. I have called this method to get the instance of this method, this class. So here, what I did, I just created one method that is public static app context, and named this as get app context. Sometime you will see the name of the singleton class, like get instance, get only instance. So it can be anything. You can put your name. This is not a restriction. But what is the logic behind that, I will discuss just after just showing the result, why I have done this. So if I execute this class where I just creating an object and printing this. So I just executed this. So you can see the hash code of the both object which I have created here. See, 1 and 2, line number 8 and 9, you can see there's 2 times I'm calling same method to get the instance. But here line number 14 to 15, you can see I'm getting hash code, a same hash code for both object. Okay, so it means that if I call 3 times this class, it will return same object. It will not going to create any new object. So the purpose of singleton is completed here, because our purpose is to be get the same object if I call many times. Right, I just put here suppose 3, and I'm just printing it. So if you see, you will get same object even I have called 3 times. Yes, you can see here the hash code is same. So now I'm going to explain everything in the class, how I'm achieving this. Okay, so here see. So now some points I want to discuss, then we will point out the logic. So first of all, if you want to, you keep in mind the points what I'm going to express here. If you're going to a class as a singleton, so first of all, you should restrict the class so that any other class cannot create object of this class outside of this class. Like my point is, if you want to create a singleton class, then you must restrict the class so that other class cannot access this, or other class cannot create object of this class outside of the class. So here, how we can achieve this? Yes, we can just make the constructor private. If you make the constructor private, if you're trying to be access outside of the class constructor, outside of the class, you will not able to do this, because compiler will restrict you, because the accessibility of constructor is private. Like this, I'm just showing it. I try here, make constructor, you can see it's showing some compile time error. Okay, let's check what the problem. It's showing change the visibility of the constructor, means the constructor, if you are going to call outside, it must be public. Okay, so that I have restricted this class to access outside here by just making private. Okay, so one point we have achieved for Singleton. Second, if you have created constructor private, then how you will get anything outside of the class? Yes, we have option. If you want to create anything, you want to access anything from outside of the class without creating constructor, means if you want to object of the class outside of anything outside of the class without creating its object, then you have only one way. One is static method. Like here you can see in main method, the main method is static because JVM will access this main method outside of the class, and but it is initial class, so definitely JVM will not create object of this class because it's before creating the object of this class, how he can access this main method. So that Java community has declared this method as a static. So when JVM run this application, it just call class name dot main method. So without creating object, you can access anything by just making that part static. So here you can see I have created one method, like I named it. I'm just removing this part so that you can understand. I made this one method. The name of method I have taken as a get application context. Okay. And what I want to get, I want the object of this class. Yes. So what I did, I just taken the reference of this method, means return type of this method is same. Okay. Now I just commenting this code, and now I can call this method outside of the class because of static. So I have done here, so you can see this app class name dot get instance. Okay, it will work perfectly because it is static. Second thing, now I want to create this object. So here, what I can do, I just write one line like new app context, and I can do this, right? It means that it will return me this object. But now if I call this method, you will see there will be different result. Yes, you can see it is returning object, but there are three objects. Each has different hash code. It means that when I call this method, go inside and create one object and send me back. So I don't want to, yes, because Singleton stated that you must have only one object. Okay, so okay, I'm removing this code and I just apply small business logic. What the logic is, I just taken one reference variable of this class, and inside this method, I just apply a small logic. If app context is equal to null, then I'll just create the object of this class and return this. Okay, I just created this class. But the question is why it is static, right? There's question. Okay, I am taken this method is static because of I'm going to access outside of class without creating object. But the question is why we have created this field static. So there's two answers. So my every word will be an answer because it will be maybe a question in interview. The question is why it is static. Okay, I'm removing this. So when I removed it, the compiler says you cannot access any non-static thing in a static context. Okay, change this as a static. So question is why? Okay, yes. So first answer you can say you cannot access any non-static thing in context of static. Okay, in static context. That's why we made it static and we achieved this with this. Okay, but the second question that will be more valuable. The second answer is actually the static thing. What is the static things? The static thing, it is a common for all objects. Means if you are going to create 5 objects of app context, they all share same reference, means same value. Okay, so it means that this context area, this method is actually for all object, and if inside any static non-static thing we can access directly, then it means that how the JVM decide the changes for which object, because this the attribute of an object, I mean to say state of an object, is a it's particular object related. You're not going to, I mean, how you differentiate it is for which object is it, right? So in that case, we should take the thing which is going to share is must be static. So I have created this static. So now the problem has been solved. One is a static context related, and second I have focused on 2 points of static. Next, discuss why I have done these things. So okay, check. Let's check. If this is a single threaded application, there's no any multi-threading. Okay, so if I call this application, only one thread will be called it, like main method. Okay, in that case it will be work fine. It will be always work fine, right? But the problem is, suppose there is multiple threads. Even suppose we have multiple threads, T1 and T2, so on, T10, T100, right? So just see the behavior. Suppose first thread come into the picture and enter here, and same time, and T1 come here, line number, T1 will come on line number 18, and meanwhile T2 also come. T1 was verifying this line. If app context is null, then create, and T1 enter inside here. But T2 is still waiting outside, right? Before creating this, T2 has checked this condition, then definitely T2 will be inside. So T2 will be also inside. Now 2 threads inside of if condition. So what will happen? T1 will execute this line and will return object of app context. And after that, T2 will again call this line because it is already inside. So it will replace object in app context. So if there's multiple threads are calling this method at the same time, then it may be possible one thread can replace the object of another thread. So okay, so for that, how we can prevent this? Yes, we know one. This is the problem. So how we will prevent this? Because Singleton stated that you cannot create 2 objects for same. So I just write here synchronized. This is multi-thread concept. If you put synchronize, then only one thread can enter at a time. Means this, if T1 will come and T2 will come at same time, only one thread get chance to enter inside, and all other threads will wait outside until up to T1 will not complete its work. So now this method will become, thread safe. Okay, so this is okay, it's fine, it is completed. It means that this is the Singleton and it is also handling multi-threading. But there one issue. The issue is waiting time of the thread. Means only this part, this is the critical section. If you see, line number 21 to 23 is the critical section. Other part is not important. This can be executed. But the all thread wait for execution of full work. Because I have implemented synchronization on method level. So instead of this, we should move for critical section option. Means we will just apply block level synchronization. So you know very well how we can do this. I just put this line here, right, and close this and remove this synchronization. So only all threads wait here. line number 21. T1 and T2 means all thread will be wait here, not before the method, right? So it means that using synchronization block, we will improve the performance, right? So, okay, we have achieved this also. That is also good. So there are two things I have covered. One is how the singleton will work in multi-threading environment, and second, how we can improve the performance of object creation. But there is still one problem. This kind of approach, if we are using synchronization block inside, is called single logged, because we have only one log. That is line number 20. You can see it is a log. But there's another issue. Suppose, okay, let me discuss. Suppose T1 thread and T2 thread, T2, so on, T100 thread arrive inside method. Now you can see the thread 100 thread are waiting on line number for line number 22. Okay, and inside one thread has arrives T1. Okay, so when one T1 will arrive inside, it will go inside and create this object, and after that return. But till then, 99 thread will wait for this lock, release lock, because already T1 has taken the lock on this object, right? So now there is another performance issue, because it's still 99 thread are waiting outside. So what will happen after completing the work by T1? T2 will come inside and verify this condition. T2 will come inside and test this condition. Okay, it will get previous thread has been created object already. Then he will leave this area, and will back. It means every thread, 98 thread will enter in synchronized block, take the lock on object, and after that check if condition, and if it is not null, then they will create object. If it is null, then it will create other than they will get previous object. But the problem is still 98 threads is waiting for the lock. So instead of this, we can do one thing. We just check once again outside of synchronization. If it is null, then do not go inside. Okay, and just back from line number 22 another. So what will happen in this case? You can see now. I'm just taking example. Okay, so what will happen? Suppose T100 threads, 100 threads arrived on this area, and T2 threads, T3 onwards are here, and T2, 2 threads are waiting here. Okay, so now what will happen? Only 2 threads are waiting here, and the 100 threads are arriving here. 98 threads. So T1 will inside come and will check this, and if it is not null, if it is null, then it will create object and return back to it. So only T2 is waiting for this lock, and other thread will check here. In that case, when T3 will come here, it will check it is null. No, because T1 has already created it. Okay, so it will T3 to T100 threads will return from 91 line. They will not entered in 22 to 27 line number. Okay, so it will be enhance the performance in case of multi-threading. So there's two interview question. One is there's multiple inheritance and multi-threading related question. One, why we have used this double lock? Because here you can see that one log is this, and second log is line number 25, and line number 23, 22 and 25 are presenting a double log. So the question is, what is the single lock singleton and double lock singleton? So you are clear, and you have clarity how we why we are using the double lock and single lock, because of performance. Third question is why we have used synchronized block instead of synchronized method. Yes, you are able to reply this answer also, because if you are using at the method level, then there will be performance issue. Every thread will wait outside of the method. We don't want this kind of problem. So that we have implemented synchronization block inside the code and only apply on that a particular code that is responsible to create objects. So now we are done with singleton object, and this is a design of singleton object. Means this method is responsible to make this class and this object as a singleton. So yes, that has been done. But there are another issue. Suppose, okay, suppose we want one object at the starting time of the object application. Suppose we just started my application and I want the object of application. We don't want to wait for that. Okay, so what can we do? We just take this field, means we are just creating object as the initialization type when we are declaring, and we have created object at that line, and here we don't need anything, we just return it. Okay, in that case we don't need to create any make this method as a synchronized, and we just no need to check any null reference. Okay, but this problem, one problem, because this is static. Okay, any here actually we did not implemented any null verification, so might be it is static. Anybody can access outside of the method, and still there's some problem to break this. Okay, we'll discuss later in next example. Here there are some problem, but yes, we can do this and we can keep this code simple. And but there's one problem. Suppose we have 10 object that is singleton, different classes for different classes. So if at the starting time when your class will load, means the app context class will load, it will directly create this object. But suppose I have created the object now, but I use this method, use this object after 20 minutes. So it means that on heap, the object will live. So if you are going with this approach, this kind of approach is known as the eager singleton. Eager singleton means you are going to create object at the starting time. Just when your class get load, the object will create. So in that case, your memory leakage problem can be over there. So to prevent this, we should change it in this approach, right? So here you can see that if you load the class, the reference will have only null value. Until up to will not call this method, get context method, the object will not create it. Means on the requirement, this class will return your object only. So this kind of approach is known as the lazy initializer. So there's another interview question. What is the lazy singleton? And second is a eager singleton. So you are easily reply for that, because if you want to add object at the load time, then you should use eager singleton, and if you want at the demand, then you should go for lazy initializer. The problem I have discussed, if you are going with the lazy, then there on demand you will get the object. So it takes time. Suppose you after 20 minutes you will ask for object, it will take time and create your object for you. And if you will go with the eager approach, then only the memory issue. Okay, so here you can see around 4 or 5 points related to singleton you got. Like what is the lazy initializer or lazy singleton? Second one is eager singleton. Third one is why constructor is private. You are able to hear why you have created this method static, because of we will access or we will create object before we will get object, or we will get object before creating the object of this class from outside. Second point is what is the double locking and single locking, right? So I have covered these things. Now this is perfect singleton, and it will work in any context, even in multi-threading and in single-threaded. But still Java has some libraries to break this. Means we can break this singleton and access object. Even we have one object, we can create another object. So how we can do this? So okay, so first of all we should know how many ways in Java we can create an object. So first approach, we know we can create an object with the new keywords. Second option, there's one library that is called reflection API. There's one method that is new instance. So you can create object of this class by using new instance method also. It means the two ways. Third way, you know, if you are going to clone the object, the Java will return you new object. It means that if you clone the object, you will get another object. Even you have an object, means if we trying to clone this class app context, it will return new object, right? I will create one class and just implement this class. Inside the class, I will just clone the object and we can easily create second object. It means that by cloning, the purpose of singleton will break. The fourth option is, you know, the serialization and deserialization. If you are going to serialize this object, it means you are going to save this object into the file or some socket. And when you retrieve that object, you will get new object, because deserialization always create a new object. So these are 4 or 5 ways to create object in Java. So we need to prevent with all these approaches, because they can be break your singleton. Here, new we have covered. Now, second approach I'm going to take, like serialization. So here I just created one class, okay, and here what I will do, I will just create one object of this class and save into the file, and after that I will try to read it, and we'll see there will be there will be 2 objects. Okay, so one thing I just go in previous example, I will show you here. Actually, this is the singleton class. So if I execute this main method where I am accessing this, so you will see the problem of many objects has been resolved. Every time I am getting same hash code. It means that the class is perfect. It is giving me a singleton object. Okay. So next, now I'm going to discuss on serialization, how we can break the singleton and how we can prevent from the serialization. So here what I'm doing, I have one class that is named, I named just it serializable. Okay, serializable singleton. And here I have created object of this class. So this is called what? Eager singleton, because I am creating object at the initialization time. And here this is the method, factory method, that is returning the instance of same class. So now I just remove this part, okay, and I'll just serialize it. Now here the main method, and here what I'm doing, I have created one object for this class and then saved into the file. This is the single SRS file I have created inside, and we will save the instance one variable in this file, and again I'm going to retrieve this object from that file. Okay, and when I retrieve, I will put into instance 2 and print both object. I'm going to see the hash code. Okay, so the class is singleton, and I'm going to break it, and if it will break, then we will prevent it. So first of all, I executed that. So you can see there's 2 hash code, means I have created only one object. The object, this is line number 15. Only once I have called this method get instance, and same object I serialized in file, and again after that I just read this file and get instance previously which I have saved inside and printed the hash code. And what I got 2 different objects. It means that even my class is singleton, but due to deserialization, I am getting the object. So for prevention of this, you just write read resolve method. Because when you are going to deserialize, so on the time of deserialization, Java will see your current object, and inside, if any read resolve method it will get, it will call this method on deserialization. Other than that, it will create new object and push all the content of your object in that object and return back to this. So I have override the method read resolve. Okay, and if you override this method, so on deserialization time, JVM will call this method instead of creating new object. And inside method, I have put the logic. I am just calling the same method, this method. It means that when the JVM will call read resolve method, it will return previous object content instead of creating new object. So now if you see the main method and I just execute, you will get same object even we had deserialized it. Yes, you can see last digit is 938 and 938. So if your object is singleton and you going to serialize and deserialize, so deserialization will return always new object. Okay, so for preventing to create new object, you just add read resolve method, and inside method whatever the object you want to return. Definitely I will return same object. So this is the one approach to break the singleton design pattern, but how to solve the problem I have implemented here with using just read resolve method. So this is also interviewed question. Sometimes people ask, okay, what are the way to break the singleton if we are going to deserialize the object? So how you will prevent? You will just say, I will just override the method read resolve method, and inside we will call the instance method or return same object. It will always be same. So it means that one way we have handled. So for now, till now, I have completed like type of singleton design patterns like eager and lazy, and second, how you will restrict multi-threading to create multiple objects, and second, how to enhance the performance that is done by single log and double log. Okay, and now, so one of I discussed before. There's one way to create an object by using deserialization, that is done. And second way to create an object is using cloning. Okay, so the question is, if we clone my object that is already singleton, what will happen? So actually, if you are going to clone suppose this class is I just created jar file of this class and give to my customer, and what customer will do, just implement that class, and inside this class he just clone the object. So what will happen? The application have two objects. One you have created, and second by clone. So clone always create new object. Okay, so now we need to restrict this class. The third person cannot clone this. It means that very easy. We just override the clone method inside our class and throw the exception from there. Okay, we just override the clone method of object class, and inside we will throw the exception. If third party will try to create the object of this class, he will get only exception, not new object. So let's see the example for that. So here I have created one small class that is singleton. So here you can see, if I just close this over area, because I'm not going to clone, initially this is singleton, and here you can see that it is lazy singleton. Now, if I trying to create the clone of this object, here you can see I created one reference of this object, and print is hash code, and after that just call clone method on this class. So if you clone the object, what will happen? You can see it is returning two objects. Means, okay, line number 7 you can see I just created one object, and on line number 11 I just create clone from that object, which is I have created above on line number 7, and just called hash code method. So again the problem is same, means the class is singleton, but after cloning I am getting two objects. So this is the break, means kind of singleton break. So what we will do, we just implement cloneable method, cloneable interface. You know, it is marker interface, because if you put the word cloneable, definitely interviewer puts you, the interviewer will ask, what is the cloneable? So you will say, you will just reply, it is a your interface, right? And if you want to override the clone method, you must be extend this interface, because clonable. Actually, here I have clonable created one parent class of clonable due to flexibility. Otherwise, you just implement here. You can just implement here clonable interface. Clonable interface is a kind of marker interface. You know what is the marker interface? I think means interface that is which does not have any method. Okay, is called free marker. Okay, so you can directly implement this. So I just implemented this method interface and override its method, that is called clone. And in clone method, we are just one thing we can do. One thing we can do, just return the exception. So if anybody trying to create clone of this object, he will get only exception. And second thing, if you don't want to restrict by exception, you just return the same object which you have already created. So here, if I go and run this class, I'm trying to check the class has been break or not. So you can see, as well as on line number 11, I call the clone method is return as null clonable not support, clone not support exception. It means that nobody can create clone for this. And second approach, you can, if you don't want to throw any exception, you just return your object. So it will return object, but it will not give you opportunity to create new object. It will always return previous object. Yes, you can see. So this is the way how you can prevent your singleton to cloning. Nobody can clone your object. Okay, so this is the second interview question, how you can prevent your singleton object with the cloning. Now the third approach which I'm going to discuss, that is reflection API. So what is the reflection API? I just give a brief. I just trying to brief it. It is an API provided by Java community. The API is provide you you can say kind of behavior that you can you can change the Java object or Java classes at the runtime. Means that if you want to operate any existing class at the runtime, you can handle by using reflection API. It's kind of design pattern also. And if your any field, if any data in your class is public, so you cannot access outside. If you want to make it accessible, then you will have option that is reflection API. Means reflection API, by using that, you can access any kind of data of the class. Second, at the runtime, you can change the behavior on object. You can set any state of the object. So the question is, where is going to use these API? So yes, when you work with any frameworks, you are going to develop any frameworks like a Spring framework, Hibernate framework, JUnit framework, JustMG framework. So these frameworks internally use this library and make your code as they want, right? Like in Java, if you run any Java class, so you must have a main class. But if you want, don't want main method to give other party to run from main method, you want to give him some custom method, you just use reflection API, and inside that you invoke your method, create your own method and give to the third party, and inside you can create your main method. So this is very useful library. So now I'm going to use this library and trying to break our singleton design pattern. Okay, so there I have created. So actually I will just cover 2 points here. So first of all, one point, how we can break the singleton, and what are the way to prevent using your reflection API. So here I have created one class. This is a singleton class, and I just removing this thing. Just forget it for now, and in future I will discuss. So here I have created a singleton object, normal singleton object. This is kind of eager, and I am returning from here. Okay. Now this is the singleton. So here you can see some reflection API I am using to break this singleton. How I am going to do this? See, line number 8, I am creating just an object. Line number 12 to 18, I am trying to break the singleton. So what I'm doing, see, this is the class, constructor class. It is from library of reflection. So here I just created, get the class, constructor of this class. Which class? The syntax is, if you want to constructor or any field of that class, you just call construct class name dot class, and on that class you can call anything. You can see here get constructor, get declared constructor, get enclosing constructor, get subclasses, class design. Means you can access anything that is already in your class, exists in your class. Okay, so here what I did, I just get constructor. Why I am doing this? Okay, back to my reflection class. See, what I was done, I have created the constructor of this class as a private. So if it is private, nobody can access outside of this class. If nobody can access outside of this class, then he will not able to create object of this class. Okay, so I will try to make this constructor as a public. Okay, and secondly, then we will call this constructor outside of the class, and we will able to create object. Okay, okay. So here you can see what I did. I get the constructor. I got constructor in line number 13. You can see. Okay. And there's one method called set accessible. So set accessible, by default it was for private. So what I did here, I just make it public. When I make it public, so the constructor has now public constructor. Means the class singleton, the constructor of singleton now is public. Okay. So what I did, I just call new instance method. In previous couple of minutes before, I discussed there's two ways. One is a new keyword, and secondly, new instance of reflection class. So what is the method on line number 19 will create new object because constructor is now public and put inside. Now I just run this code, and I'm just here printing both objects. You can see singleton 1 but on line number 8 and singleton 2 on line number 18. So when I run this code, you will see there's two different object has been created. Again, we are on same problem. Okay, so okay, I know if anybody have reflection API, he can make the constructor public and access my class. So I am very the developer is very clever. What he did, he will just apply some locking. He just applied locking. If instance is not null, means first time somebody has created, so instant object will fill. And if trying to second person make this constructor and public and trying to create object again, so constructor will check instance method, instance variable is not null. If it is not null, he will throw exception. Okay, let's check. Is it fine or not? So now I'm just going to again run, trying to make constructor, I'm got exception. Means once first object has been created, but while I trying to create here on line number 19, second object, we are getting exception. It means that I block the constructor, means nobody can access this object using what? Your constructor, because constructor is now private as well as guarded. I have guarded it, nobody can access it. If trying to access, it will get only exception. Okay, so now this singleton is prevented from the your reflection API. So okay. Now there's one loophole. You can break still it. How? I have just made this constructor not accessible and with guard. But a person, if knows the name of field, he can make it as a accessible and create new object. See in second. So same thing I have done. What I have done, you can see, I have create access the field. That is called instance. Inside the reflection class, you can see the name of field is instance, and I just made it accessible true. And after that, I put inside null. So what will happen? Even I have apply guarding here, guard here, but the next guy done, he just access this field and put inside null. So next time when the constructor will public. Trying to access private constructor by making it public, the field will get again null and he will able to again create new object. So let's see, even I have put guard, it will be written new object. So this is what I again, just let me brief. Here what I'm doing, I'm just getting the field and make it public. And after making field, I call set method on field and put it to null. Even I have created object here, at that line, the field value means the object has created by get instance method is again set null. It means that even constructor has guard here, it will create new object. Again, I have breaked it. So if I run this application check, even every restriction I have applied on my constructor. Here I have already applied restriction, but still I am getting two object because I made this field accessible and put inside null. So first time when time I created object, it's written new object. And second, before accessing, I am putting this instance value as null. And again, I call this method, I will able to get new object. Okay, so it means that again, on same problem, we are on same problem. We again not able to restrict our object with reflection API. So okay, let's do solution for that also. So you know very well, there's one keyword that is called final. If I put final here, then if you're trying to change the value of instance field due to final, the JVM and Java will not allow you to do this. So now the last fix, if the person is going to make it accessible and trying to put in put new value inside, the final variable will restrict you. Now if I try to create this object, we will get what? Definitely error. Why? Because the field is already what? Final. You cannot set any field inside. So now these are the ways where we can restrict reflection, our Singleton class with these problems. There's one point which I want to mention here, and after that we will bind our webinar. So these are the ways, if just brief it. So Singleton is an object that ensure that you will not get second object. If you are going to trying to create, it will return same object. So second is type of Singleton object. It can be lazy, it can be eager. How many types do you perform locking on that? There's two ways. One is your single lock and double lock. Multi-threading. Okay. So second thing, how we can break the Singleton and how we can prevent. So I have discussed four problems. One is serialization, cloning. In serialization, we just read resolve method. In cloning, we will just override clone method and throw the exception and make constructor to private to restrict accessibility outside. But by reflection API, we can make it public and set the value. For that, I have just throw exception inside constructor. But there's one way you can set the value of instance field and make it accessible. To restrict it to this, put final keyword in front of that. Okay, so these are the way. And another way, you just a small thing. If you want to perfect secure Singleton, so there's after Java 1.5, there's one concept you know very well, that is enum. So you should create always enum type of Singleton. So I have created here, you just create one enum, and you just create one enum and put your object inside. And if you're trying to create object of enum, even 100 of time, it will return always same object of the class. So this is another way to create a Singleton. Just create one enum. Enum is always play role as a Singleton. And one point can very rare the interviewer ask, but I just want to put that also. Here I have one example. Singleton. Yes, this is a bill plug approach. Actually, what is the approach we have covered in previous slide on demand object. But second is that if you don't want to create object, then you just create inside a static class. So at the initial time, it will not, initially when the class will going to load, it will not create an object. But when you ask to the inner class, it will return you object. So this is the approach kind of lazy. Okay, so if you work in a programming environment like some C# and some automation frameworks, there you will see this kind of the design uh, of Singleton also. So these are the points related to Singletons I have covered here. For now, yeah, everything is done. Every question and everything I have discussed here related to Singleton design pattern, and it is the most burning topic for the interviewers. Even if you are experienced for 5 years, 10 years, you will get this question. So if any question, please ask. And yeah, that is all about the Singleton.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time, and I guess student will be immensely benefited from this session. And उनको अभी पता चल गया कि how Java works. So if they have question, guys, अगर कोई question है तो type करो chat box में. Otherwise, we'll move ahead. Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Just 1-2 minutes. Let's see if student has some question.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Guys, it seems like you don't have any question. So let us move ahead.
Yeah.
Sir, thank you once again from all the participants for the session.
Okay.
And guys, now I'll share you the link for the attendance. And just one more thing, as I already discussed, that Tuesday there would be a mock test. So that mock test will be taking in Google form. So the form would be active at some given time. I'll announce the time, and it will remain open for 1 hour. The test would be for 1 hour. And by that time, you have to complete that and fill up that form. The questions would be in the Google form, and post that mock test will distribute your certificate, e-certificate. All right. So that would be the phase 3. And also, as we already mentioned, we are going to start some regular classes. So you will get the mail by tomorrow. And also in the group, you'll get the update. The regular classes on aptitude, soft skill. There will be different module, aptitude module, soft skill module, technical module on Java, data structure. So you'll get all the details by tomorrow. You'll get the mail as well as you'll get the update in our group. Okay. So now the attendance link, and guys, this attendance would remain active for next 15 minutes only. And this is the code 6384. This is the code. Guys, the code is 6384. This is the code, and I'm giving you the attendance link. Just a second. This is the link. This is the attendance link, guys. Fill the attendance form. Okay. So fill up the attendance form. It will remain active for the next 15 minutes. And please do like, follow, and share our classes. Like कर दो, follow, share कर लेना. अगर अभी तक subscribe नहीं किए हो, so please do subscribe. And for more update, we will be coming up with more videos. So do subscribe our channel. Thank you and good night.